What's up, my dude? So, the old Daytona daddy back at it again, boys. Oh my God. Holy crap. Wait for it. Oh my God, Spency boy, you're gonna break your neck, son. Holy crap. Okay, so we got the 2021 Daytona RF Supercross track replica track review. Oh my God. Finally RF. Like, what? I mean, dude, I'm just going to come out and say it. This track right here is basically perfect. I know that sounds insane coming from the Spency boy. I know it sounds crazy. I know some of you guys don't want to believe it. This track's literally perfect right here. I mean, yeah, there's a couple things. It's, not quite 1,000% perfect, but like in the grand scheme, and when you compare it to what they have been doing, this shit is perfect, dog. Oh my God. I'm just in such disbelief. Like, this is going out to all of you RF track makers, that think I've just been hating on you and I, just can't accept anything that RF does and I'm just an RF hater. I mean, this is a prime example right here. I'm going to give them credit when the credit's due. This is why I'm so hard on RF. This is why I go in there and criticize their tracks, because I want to see shit like this, bro. That's why I do it, dog. A lot of you guys take it as being just a hater or being negative or they can never please me or whatever, but it's like, dude, when they do this shit right, I will come out here and tell you, and this is it, dog. Holy crap. So there's like a handful of different elements to this track right here in particular that have basically just been completely missing from their tracks for like a year and a half now. Number one thing is skill gap on the first lap. Say it with me again, boys. Skill gap on the first lap. This track has all kinds of skill gap on the first lap with no road on it. Right? It's first lap, just getting on the track. There is skill gap everywhere. You've got ruts, pre-made roughness, pre-made like kickers and changes of jump faces. They've brought back that 10% of that edge to the track. You guys know I've been talking about the tracks just feel like the jumps are rolled off and they're too 1-to-1 scaled and all that kind of stuff. This track brought back that 10% of that peak to the jump faces where it feels like you're actually jumping up in the air again. I don't know why the hell they've been missing that for like a year and a half now, but the jumps actually feel like they have a proper peak to them again. The whoops, oh my dear Lord, finally they have whoop skill gap again, boys. Holy crap. It's been since like 2017 since we've really had that. Oh, man. And yeah, a lot of what creates the skill gap to these whoops is how you're kind of jumping into them right here, right? You're kind of hitting like this single into the whoops, which makes the whoops like 10 times harder. But they feel better too. Like everything about this track feels so much better. And it's just like, I don't know how if this track to me feels like somebody completely different made this track than who's really been working on the tracks for the past year and a half. It feels like somebody completely different made this track. I mean, it is that much better. Like, seriously. And that's one of the biggest things I've been talking about this whole time is you've got to have that skill gap on the first lap without a road, because that is what 99.99% of the people are going to, that's how they're going to experience these tracks, right? Like straight up, like let's just keep it real right now. Like, half of the people just want to go in there and ride on the track by themselves in single player, and you're not really going to have a road on in single player. It's just pointless. And then the other, 40% is going to be in there with 2 or 3 of their buddies with a super lower road setting or no road at all, or they're in there on like a random online server with like 5 people, right? There's a very small percentage of people that actually experience these RF tracks with the right amount, with the full gate of riders and the right amount of a road, and, you know, all those different elements that make that certain, like, eroded RF track. You see what I'm saying? There's such a small portion of people that even experience the track like that. So, you know, a lot of these tracks previous have been so easy, so basic. There's just like nothing to the tracks until you start getting, you know, 22 people on the gate and like 10 laps into with the road on. Like there's just nothing to the shit. But this track right here has it from the lap number 1, has it from the start. This is one of those tracks where you don't have to ride on this with the road for it to be fun or skill gapped or to be able to separate yourself. Like, you can do it. You can have fun on this track with a road, without a road, with a little bit of a road, with a lot of a road, with a lot of people, with no people, you know, pros versus amateurs, you know, like whatever. This track is just, oh my God, I just can't believe it, man. And I know that's crazy hearing the word perfect from somebody like me, but like, I mean, look at the ruts coming out of this corner, these little. This reminds me a lot of like how they would have designed a track in 2017. That's what this shit reminds me of right here. You know, they've got the peak back to the main Supercross triple faces, so it doesn't just feel like you're hitting some 20-foot backyard triple, right? Everything's got that like edge to it again, like I'm saying. Everything's got that peak to it where it kind of feels like it really pops you up in the air. And like right through here, just so much character to this like little bit of like pre-made braking bump into these little rollers, but they're not basic. You know, it looks like there's like these little bitty pre-made rut divots right in the face of this roller. This shit just feels so good, man. Like, and you come around here, the skill gap to be able to get the speed to hit this corner and do this triple in right here is fucking perfect. It's perfect. It's not too easy. It don't feel like you're just, you know, over jumping everything on a 450 and like, what the hell is this track? Everything just fits. It just fits. In this whoop section, it's like 10 million different ways to go through this. It's like, do you try to jump into the whoops? Do you try to roll into the whoops? Do you try to just fucking all ass through the whoops and pray to Pastrana? Do you, you know, and like they're all like, you can see, if you can see this on YouTube, see on the face of this first starter single into the whoops, it's not like a perfect jump face. It's that natural, like it's a little bit raised up on the right, and there's like these micro little pre-made type ruts going through it. I don't know if you can really see that, but that shit makes so much difference on the way a track feels, and every single jump face on this track feels like that. Look at this little roughness right here before this giant-ass single. You know, you got a little bit more braking bump vibe going on the right side than you do the left side, which creates different line options. You know, it kind of creates like a cool little natural, realistic vibe to the track when there's no road on the track, right? And I'm so glad they made this single right here as big as they did. It looks like they didn't try to do it too 1-to-1 scaling, right? Like if they would have tried to do that shit 1-to-1 scaling, they would have made it like 5 foot shorter, and then it would have just been boring as shit. They got this single just big enough to where you really gotta play with your throttle on how much you want to sky this sumbitch out right here without popping off the bike, right? There's like a fine line. Every aspect of this track has that perfect fine line of skill gap to it, right? It's like, do you want to go really fast, try to sky this thing out? You could pop off if you try to do that. Or do you want to try to play it safe and just jump it like medium? Same way into the whoops. You know, do you want to just fucking haul ass through the whoops? Or do you want to kind of tone it back like mid-level? Or do you want to try to go slow and then go fast? You know, you got like all that kind of skill gap. Look at the ruts up the face of this right here. Dog, where, like RF, it's not hard. Why did it take you this long to do this? I don't know. You've been so missing this whole aspect of like character to the tracks. That's what I've been talking about for the past 2 years in this game. Not enough skill gap on lap 1, not enough character to the tracks. Everything's too much made around a road. You've lost your edge to the jump faces. You know, I've just been talking about every freaking aspect of what they've done better on with this track, right? It's just like, damn. And this is the rare occasion right here where I feel like this track might actually almost be better than the real-life Daytona track actually turned out. I'm not even shitting you. I don't know if I've ever said that before about any track in this game, but like, for instance, just a little, I actually like this whole split lane looking crazy ass section right here. In real life, this ended up just being like a standard, normal, you can see the color of the dirt, like the normal darker dirt like this. I think in real life, the way the real life track actually turned out was it was just like a standard rhythm with the darker dirt all the way through. But this is pretty cool. Yeah, they made this off of the track map, and it didn't really fit the real life track. I always talk about how I want them to do that, and I still think they should do that, but either way, I just wanted to point out, this is pretty awesome how this turned out right here. Like this split lane sand kind of gives you a little bit more sand area than just that one switchback sand section, and then instead of this section right here being that darker dirt, kind of making everything look the same, you got another sand section right here, which it just brings the whole track together a little more, I feel like. Inside pre-made ruts, middle pre-made ruts. Look at the face. Look right here. The face of this jump. You can see how right where this rut's coming out, like, if you were to hit the rut, it's a little lower right there, but if you hit right here in the middle of this jump face from the outside, you can see how it's raised up a little bit. Like, every jump face on this track has that very natural variation of the jump face. It don't feel like you're playing on this perfectly Play-Doh sculpted bullshit like we've been riding on. It actually feels a little more natural, it feels like real. Like, and this, the way the skill gap, how hard they made this triple end to hit right here, perfectamundo, bro. Perfect skill gap to how hard. They didn't make it too hard, but they made it just right in that hard enough prime level zone, Plus, triple, and we have a quad ski. Holy crap. And then the skill gap of hitting that quad and then singling all the way damn near into the face of this Supercross triple right here. And then you pop up in the air, and then you're just wide ass open through these sand rollers, and then you're trying to get on the brakes so you don't literally do 700 foot over jump on the finish line. Oh my God. So cool how they integrated the grass right here into the dirt. Shit looks great. Man. I mean, if some of you guys can't realize by seeing this track right here what I've been talking about for the past 2 years in this game, I don't even know what to tell you. You can have fun on this track in single player with no road. There's skill gap everywhere. You can't be an amateur and just haul ass around this track in 2 laps like you can on damn near any of those other Supercross tracks for the past year and a half. There's actually like this element of learning the tracks and learning line options and figuring out what's better. Look at this. So they have this little like divot that's on the right side but not on the left side. So if you hit it right, it allows you to jump up on this table and then jump right here. Little bit of roughness, 3 ruts into the corners, 2 ruts and a berm coming out of this corner. Natural ruts through the sand rollers, not just like perfect smooth, no rutty bullshit. Awesome ass middle rut right there. Really, really fun to hit that. And this right here, I mean, yeah, this over-under jump's a little on the small side, but that's because their over-under object is too short in this game. I don't really think that was like intentionally built that short. They're just trying to fit it to the object itself. They need to get a little bit longer of an over-under object in this game, in my opinion. They need to start using that because that is insane. Like, very, 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 very short 1-to-1 scaling on that over-under jump right there for sure. But, dogs, holy crap. Bravo, bros, bravo. I'm telling you guys, yeah, when I'm negative about RF for like a certain amount of time, I know it can kind of build up this ideology, and a lot of the RF track makers and RF officials will start getting real pissed at me and hating on me and shit. It's like, bro, all I am is just honest with you all the time. 100% honest, not sugarcoating, not holding anything back, giving you my real ass opinions, and that's all there is at the end of the day. If you come in here and make a solid ass track that has the skill gap and the fun factor and the replayability and not so one-to-one scaling smooth built around a road, I'll come in here and give you the credit for it. If you do things right, I'm gonna come in here and give you the credit for it. But you've been doing this shit wrong for so long now that it just seems like I'm this big hater of you. But it's really not. It's just I've had to keep it real with you this whole time. You know? So now that you finally made something cool here, I'm going to come out and tell you. And I just love these Daytona daytime vibe tracks versions here as well. This shit's pretty awesome. Man alive. I just can't believe this. Like, I'm shocked. I'm like genuinely shocked that they went from what they've been doing for the past year and a half to this right here. Wow. And of course, there's probably going to be a lot of you beginner and amateur dudes that have been really used to those tracks for the past year and a half, and you're going to hop on this and you're going to be like, oh, I don't really like the track. Oh, the triples have too much peak to them. Oh, the track's too hard. Oh, I keep hitting random kickers and popping off the bike. Oh, right? There's probably going to be quite a few of you guys going down that road because you're used to amateur supercross tracks. That's what all these tracks have been for like literally a year and a half in this game. They've been amateur supercross tracks. They don't even come even remotely close to a pro level track in this game until you got, 22 dudes 15 laps into it with the road on. Like, that's the only way you're going to get any kind of skill gap to anything on those other supercross tracks. And, there's just a very, very select number of people that even experience it like that, and that even pro race and experience it that in that one individual race. This track right here just fits so much more of that mass population of the game. The random online servers, the people that are playing in single player, all these other kind of people. This allows you to have fun no matter how you're playing on this track. That's what I love about it. They weren't like, oh, we're not going to let you hit a quad. We're going to do something with the jump faces to where we're just going to totally prevent you from hitting a quad in this rhythm, right? Like they've been doing. Dog, I swear to God. It is just, oh, man. I have been so right on the money with this shit. Finally, they just go ahead and let us hit a quad. They make the first triple in skill gapped, and then it's like a triple, and they allow us to hit this quad, which makes it fun, makes that section not so boring, right? Damn, like, this is, obviously the track is still somewhat narrow here. It's like just a hair too narrow in my opinion in a couple areas, but not, the rest of the track is so much better that it's like, I don't even like think about that, But yeah, when you compare this shit to like a bunch of these previous RF Supercross tracks they've been doing, this is just literally double the skill gap on lap 1 with Noah Road. Literally double the skill gap and double the line options, double the character to the track. This track to me feels more like that 1.2 to 1 scaling instead of literal full-blown 1-to-1 scaling, right? Doesn't feel like they were like purposely trying to shorten and, lower the faces and smooth the faces and make everything smaller and make the whoops like rolled off. It doesn't feel like that, like a bunch of these other Supercross tracks it felt like. So either way, this shit right here, I love me some of those previous Daytonas like 17 and like 15 and there's a lot of Daytonas that I love in this game. But this one's up there, dog. I'm going to tell you that right now. This one is up there. The fact that this is a day version, it's got that like next level graphical look to everything, and it's got the pre-made and the everything to the on track that I've been talking about forever now. It's got all that. Like, I want to see this, maybe not quite to the extent of this pre-made on every single, Supercross track in the game, but I would love to see some pre-made ruts like this, at least on some of their other Supercross tracks and Seattle tracks, and, playing around with the jump faces, not having literal 100% perfectly, perfectly like smoothed off and built jump faces and perfectly built whoops. I like to have that where the shit is like varied and it's natural looking, and you can feel it in the bike when you're riding on this track right here, man. I don't know. I'm just shocked, man. Mortally shocked. And they just have that perfect skill gap to tripling in on a 450. All of these 3N, there's literally like 4 places where it's like, you got to be on the gas on a 450. You can't be messing around. You can't be lollygagging, tiptoeing in your Jordans in the corner and still be able to hit the main triple. Even though I did mess up a little bit right there. But you can see I took the very far outside to be able to do that, right? If you hit this corner perfect, you can actually square it up and hit the inside and still hit that triple in there. But, you're going to have to seat bounce. You're going to have to know how that suspension's going to react to even get over these jump faces. I just can't explain the amount of time you got to put into the game to really be able to go fast around a track like this. Like to be able to jump into a whoop section like that right there and actually carry your speed out and flat land like this right here. Trust me, I've played this game long enough to know you ain't going to put 500 hours and be able to do that into this game. You're going to have to put like 3, 4, 5,000 hours into this game to really haul ass around a track like this, period. You're just not going to be able to do it otherwise, or you're running hacks or something in the game. That's the only way. There's just so many elements where it's like, damn, it caught me off guard. I mean, I wrecked a lot trying to haul ass on this track at first. Of course, I only ended up running like 20 or 30 laps on it anyways, but I actually enjoyed riding on this track. I want to go back and ride some more laps on it, have some more fun on it. Like that's a pretty rare occasion compared to like all the other tracks this year so far. I couldn't give a shit about going back and riding on them. And I think the whole like higher friction, higher traction, it just seemed to kind of play into this whole Daytona vibe. That new shit they've been doing with the traction where they damn near got it feeling like concrete mixed with sand or some shit, right? Making it, super friction and stuff. It just fits whatever kind of traction they put on this seemed to fit like this kind of Daytona sandy vibe track better than the tractions that they've had on a lot of the previous tracks this year. Just didn't really seem to fit the kind of dirt and what I was looking at on the track. It all just, what they did here just seemed to fit this really well. So 10 out of 10 rating, no doubt about it. Yeah, there's like a few things like they could have made certain areas of the track like fucking 5% wider. There's like a couple of areas where they could have done like just a few little things, but I mean, I'm not going to nitpick to that level. Like, they done so many things so well on this track that it really is a 10 out of 10. There's really no doubt about it. Difficulty, you're looking at Hassan on the difficulty, dog. It's not like crazy, but it feels like Daytona difficulty, It feels like okay, you better be on that throttle. Like, you can't be playing around, right? So let me just start you off on these triples where it actually feels like, and the jumps just feel right. Like, it feels like when you jump, you're landing down in a transition properly. It doesn't feel like the jumps are too, like, crammed together like they felt like in a lot of these previous tracks. They just feel right to me, bro. Like, this whole thing just feels right to me. But to be able to hit that triple in right there, you're going to have to be Hassan on a 450 to be able to huck that up and triple that. There's, like, so many places where it's like that on this track. And I love that switchback sand section where you got all those ruts everywhere. That's just so much fun trying to carry the speed and haul ass and hope that you can still grab the rut, right? But like taking the corner wide enough to where you can carry the speed. There's like this constant balance that you have on this track of like, do you want to go inside and like square the corner up, or do you want to try to carry the speed around and never really let off the gas? There's like so much like different line choice skill gap in the corners here, even without a road. Like, dog, I'm telling you, if you sat down and you had like real life qualifying type shit on this, so like nobody had rode on this track at all, and boom, you come out with this track right here, you give everybody literally like 20 minutes to qualify on the track, and then you start the races on it. You literally give them 2 qualifying sessions, 20 minutes, that's it, no more, and you start the races. Like, people will be going in different areas on this track. You know, if you don't give them too much time to qualify and learn a laser line and all that kind of stuff, I'm telling you, you wouldn't even have to have a road. And they would be hitting different shit on this track right here. I promise you. Literally, 1 qualifying session. What would be badass? I don't know how they could ever do this, but what would be really cool is if one day they could get it to a point where, like, you have a 20-minute you've never seen the track ever before. They come out with you have a 20-minute qualifying session, and then somehow, like, you can't ride on the track until your heat races, and then you can only go out there and ride on it for a certain amount of time. Then you can't ride on it till your main event, right? God, that would be so awesome if they could do that. That would, I'm telling you, if they did the qualifying and how they come out of the track and, you know, not been able to ride on it till your heat races and your main events like it would be in real life, I promise you, you would not have this feeling of like, oh, everybody's just laser lining, everybody's hitting the same thing. We got to have a road to give us multiple lines, right? It wouldn't even be like that if you had not only multiple versions of the track, like a qualifying version, heat race version, main event version, and kind of change the ruts up, make the roughness more the later versions you go, you know, so it matches up more to a main event. Then you'd be able to have the ruts and everything on lap 1 instead of going all the way back to flat tracking, which is not realistic at all. To go back to flat tracking every single time you go out on the track, that's a super unrealistic thing about a road in this game. But I'm telling you, if they did all that, multiple versions, and only gave you 20 minutes to qualify on it, and that was it until you started racing in your heat races and then your main events, bro, this shit would be awesome. You would not even need a road. You wouldn't even need it. Or you could have it at such a low level, it was like pretty much not even noticeable if you wanted to just keep it in there or whatever, and it would be so realistic like that. So much more realistic than what they've been doing with the starting from perfectly smooth and then, coming out with the tracks and you get an hour to qualify on it. Then you sit there and just sweat laps out on it for infinity and beyond. And, you know, while you're waiting on your heat race, while you're in there in warm-up mode and you're waiting, you're going to have like an extra 2 hours to sit there and run laps on the track before your main event even starts. So, of course, people are going to laser line in the main event when you have 3 hours before the main event to sit there and ride on the track, the same track, without having multiple versions of tracks. Pretty goddamn obvious that's the way that's going to be. See, people try to say that's why we need a road or that's why we got to have a road so it makes multiple lines. No, you don't. You change all the other parameters around the shit, like how much time you give people to qualify, how many versions of the tracks there are, all these other elements, and that's how you can create more of a realistic experience than just having to have a road, right? But a lot of these dudes just don't even think that way. They think so simplistically about it, like, you just got to have a road. No matter how shitty it is, you got to have a road, right? And they've been that way this whole time, and it cracks me up. This track is levels above what they've been doing. That flat tracking, small, one-to-one scaling, no character, no edge to the jump faces. Like, this is double that. This is double that level right here. This track is awesome right here, bro. So, either way, that's the old track review on Daytona. I'm probably going to do some more videos on this shit. This is what this makes me want to do a 125 video on this shit. This makes me want to, like, fucking do all kinds of videos on this. That's how fun this track was to me. Hopped in here in single player, just wanted to check the track out, know a road, and it was fun, and it was skill gapped, and there was replayability, and it kept me coming back to it. Bravo, RF. This is all you had to do, man. This is all you had to do.